So our speaker today is our own Ron Solorzano, and if you notice, I actually put the correct, or the accent on the correct syllable there, so you know it's Solorzano, and he is works for Ventura County Library Services, right? That's right. You kind of work for the county, and you're in charge of the Ojai City Libraries specifically, and then I guess you also do some traveling around to the other libraries and so forth. And so anyway, we're happy to have you as a new member and anxious to see what's new at the library, which is not your daddy's library. Ron Solorzano.
All right. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you all. Thank you all. So yeah, not your daddy's library was my my assigned topic, and you know it is true in a lot of ways. So the Ojai Library, as Jack said, is part of the Ventura County Library System. The Ojai Library, we celebrated as a county system our centennial last year. And the Ojai Library, I may have mentioned this last time I spoke with you all, was the first one to join the county system. So Ojai was really one of the first ones in. And not only that, but the Ojai Library predates all of that as well. The library itself, the very first Ojai Library was built in the 1890s, back when it was the George Thatcher Memorial Library. And then that joined the system, and then in about the 20s, it transferred to the building that it's in now. Overall, our library, this is kind of the more boring stuff, but it's 12 branches right now. We're actually opening a 12th down in Ventura by the Government Center. That's kind of our big news lately. It's always nice when we're able to expand a little bit there. When anyone has a card with us, they're able to check out as many items as they want. That means books, DVDs, audio books, anything that we have, they can check out and use for free. That's kind of the general idea behind a library, but there are still people that come to us who are very surprised by that. They expect they're going to have to pay, but that's not what we're about at all. We also provide a lot of other services as well relating to technology, which I'll get to in a sec. But we also lend things beyond just books. The three that I have listed here, e-readers, Wi-Fi, hotspots, and laptops, are three things that have sort of really come about, honestly, pretty much since I got here about 3 years ago. I joined the county, and all these programs have started from then. One of them, the e-readers, I was directly involved in, but the other two, there are people in our organization who are looking for opportunities, looking for new ideas, and bringing them to us. So it's really turning out to be a good thing. Another thing we'll get to towards the end, again, is the meeting room rental. A lot of our locations are starting to develop meeting rooms that we can rent out to the public for use for events and that sort of thing. Yes?
How much does the room rent for, and how many people does it hold?
So the one here in Ojai, we're renting for $25 per 3-hour use. And there is a deposit associated as well, just because there is some kind of nice equipment in there. But yeah, $25 per use. The topping room and Ventura is a similar price. We try to keep all of our facilities rentals low and accessible. The room in Ojai can fit maybe about 40 people with just chairs. And we have tables as well that you can put in. Down in Ventura, they have, I think, a capacity of 135, something like that. So the topping room is a little bit larger there. But, and then some of the other stuff we do, newspapers, magazines, CDs, DVDs. But our bread and butter is books. It has been, and continues to be. This is a little bit less of, this I guess kind of goes back to your daddy's library. You probably are used to hearing about the books, but the surprising thing for us is that circulation continues to be strong. It actually was doing very well and even going up in the last few years. At the Ojai Library, we have a budget for books that we get for our library, books that are going to live here in Ojai, and that's my job is to do adult selection for those. My children's librarian, Julie Albright, will select for youth. But between the two of us, we spend our budget on items that we want to reflect the Ojai community, things we think that the community will want and read. And I had the chance the other day to kind of go over the purchases that I've made in the last year and see how they're performing, and I was happy to see that they're doing okay. So that's good. Gives you a little bit of a little boost to know you're doing the right thing. But beyond just Ojai, we have access to those other branches, all 12 branches. People can request items, have them brought in. All told, we have access to about 412,000 different volumes, and circulation for last year was around 663,000 items going in and out. But the other angle that we've been looking at in the last, I'd say maybe five years or so, 5 to 7, is databases, online resources. These are things that we can access, or any cardholder rather can access using their library card number, even if they're at home, if they're traveling, wherever they happen to be. Students will use them at school. People will use them on vacation to get ebooks. We have 57. As of last year, we had 57 online resources. I think we've dropped a couple and added a couple since then, so it might be a wash. But that's a number of different databases. Some of the ones that we have listed here, some of them are encyclopedia-like. Gale Virtual Reference is one, World Book, those are the same ones. But some of them, Access Video and Hoopla are both, and IndieFlix are all movies. We have streaming movies, things that you can check out, and then things that are just always available for you. Overdrive is one of the ebook loan services. Mango Languages is a language learning software. You can download it to your phone or your tablet and use it there. BiblioBoard is an interesting one up in the corner. That's one that it's actually a suite of tools that writers can use to help them as they self-publish. Help them format their books, help them make them accessible. A writer who uploads their content to BiblioBoard will actually have it be searchable through our library, so it's a way for them to get kind of a wide access to that. And last year we were showing about 152,000 ebooks available. And this is an interesting part here, the technology side of it. It's an interesting slice. Most of our branches, in fact, all of our branches have public computers and Wi-Fi. Our website itself, vencolibrary.org, almost 600,000 visits last year. The computers that we have in the branches, people coming in to just use the PCs, over 70,000 uses, and then our Wi-Fi, 280,000. And it used to be about, honestly, maybe a year ago, that was a little bit spotty because our connection wasn't always the strongest, but we did get plugged into the Scenic Network, which was a kind of California initiative designed to get schools and libraries onto a high-speed connection, and it really has made a difference for us in terms of the people that come in and what they're able to do. So a lot of that Wi-Fi, those Wi-Fi sessions and those PC sessions made a lot more effective because of that change. The other thing that we're doing that we like to think is really differentiating us from the past is our programming. We have a lot of varied programming at the library. Some of it's recurring stuff like the homework centers. At Ojai, the homework center runs Monday through Thursday and in the afternoons, and we're usually pretty packed. Elsewhere in the Ojai Valley, Oakview has a very active homework center, and Miners Oaks has a pretty solid one as well. Early literacy classes are offered by our youth librarians. Again, that's Julie Albright at the Ojai Library. She offers on Wednesday mornings every week early literacy class for 0 to 5, children 0 to 5 to come in with their parents. And she actually started offering on the first and third Thursdays a bilingual story time. That's something that a few of our youth librarians have kind of gotten into. And it's not really as difficult as we thought it was going to be. It was something we wanted to do. And it's a little bit intimidating for someone who doesn't speak Spanish, but Julie, she's not fluent. She still doesn't actually speak Spanish, but she knows enough to get through her program for that class. And it really is interesting in the people that it's able to bring in and the kind of gratefulness that they have that's something that we're offering. So we're really proud of that, and that's one of the things that we're doing that's changing a little bit and embracing the communities that we have around here. In terms of programming, we offer author readings, we host book clubs and writing workshops. That's kind of, again, more the standard fare. But another thing that's relatively new is that we started offering more arts and music programming. live concerts. We've had individual singer-songwriters come in and just do a thing, acoustic performance. We've had a couple of short plays come in and do sort of sneak previews of things that are showing elsewhere. And then, of course, we have the opera. Actually, the opera is going to be back on Thursday, the 9th, so this week. We have our noontime opera concerts. Opera Santa Barbara comes in, and their folks will give a 45-minute show. It's really great. They've been one of our most consistently popular events. And it's a little bit unorthodox. People who are in our library who aren't used to noise, frankly, come in, and the opera is going on, and they're kind of telling us, this is something we contend with every so often is, I thought the library was supposed to be quiet. I thought the library was supposed to be, a place that I could just come, and we tell them, we definitely still offer that. There are times when the building is quiet. There are areas where the building is more quiet. But it is really, it's a space, it's a lived-in space now. It's a place where people come to do things. We have our early learning centers are a lot more active. We have kids running around playing with their toys, doing a lot of interactive play, creative play, all of which is something that's been shown. Research has shown that really does help with the learning process. And so that's something we've embraced. And it does mean that, it's not always what people are used to or what they're expecting. We offer adult literacy classes and ESL classes as well. And one of the also more exciting things that's been recent is we offer a lot of makerspace programming through the library. When I was still in Ventura, I was doing a lot of the early programming for our makerspace. And since I've come up here, we hired a makerspace librarian. And what he does is, he's based down in Ventura, but he brings the makerspace to the other branches. He was here in Ojai, I want to say last week, although honestly the weeks are kind of starting to bleed together. But he was here very recently. He brought one of those virtual reality kind of sets in, and he had some robotics activity going on with the kids. What he'll do is he'll usually set up around where the homework center is going on and kind of catch some of those kids that maybe have finished early, or I guess also maybe don't feel like doing homework when there's a virtual reality set and robots around instead. But that's been really great because he brings something to our library that we might not be able to sustain on our own without that support. This is just some of the other stuff that's been brought around. On the upper side there, you have a squirrel cookie cutter that was 3D printed, and then the cookies that someone made and brought in to show us, which I thought was nice. The other one on the top there is, it's called Little Bits. It's sort of a modular, kind of snap and build type. You build these little machines, little complete circuits, and you have power to switches to things like fans and buzzers and various things. I think this one actually ended up being a wireless doorbell, which I thought was pretty interesting. Bottom left over there is a program called Scratch, which we use to introduce kids to coding. Even that kind of to me looks a little complicated, but apparently it's very easy for kids to pick up and design games on their own. And then on the side here, of course, we have our little Ojai keychain that was done when the 3D printer came out here to Ojai. The MakerBox Collective is something that we actually are part of, along with 6 other libraries, mostly in Ventura County and one in Calabasas. What that really, to me, represents is another thing that it might not seem from the outside like a change, but for us on the inside, it is a really nice big change to be collaborating with other libraries and bringing programming. The MakerBox Collective is something where the 7 libraries got together, co-wrote a grant, and were awarded that money to start maker programming that rotates through our libraries. So that spirit of collaboration, I think, is another thing that's relatively new. Here's just some more of our programming. We have the upper left and the bottom right are both opera performances that we've had. Dead center, we've got a young guy fiddling with that ukulele. That's the ukulele club meets. I don't know why it says Monday on that binder. It meets on Wednesdays. The knitting club meets on Monday. But these are, 2 things that have been going on for a while. Ukulele has been going on for, I think, 3 years. And then in the bottom left, that's actually one of my favorites too. We had, what that is, you may not be able to see from there. It's a pile of little tiny books, maybe about, yay high. And we had this, we hosted it was called the Creativity Caravan. It's a couple of women who have this old retro trailer that they were traveling around with. And we booked them to come to the library and give a workshop on crafting those little books. And it was a lot of fun. They came in and we had people come and just have an afternoon of making those tiny books. It was a lot of fun and something different, Another angle for us that we really want to embrace is, it's not just art, but it's local art. We really, each of our branches tries to display something that's representative of the art scene around them. So the E.P. Foster Library in downtown has some artists from around that area. Up here in Ojai, we try to highlight Ojai artists more. There on the left is some work that we have from some of the, I think the 5th graders over at Topa Topa. We have an arrangement with one of their teachers where she basically brings in their most recent art projects, and we just put it on display there in the library to show. The three kind of in the middle and on the bottom there are features from our little reading room. The reading room off to the side houses a rotating art exhibit, which, if I'm going to be honest, was not rotating for about a year. I kind of let that one go. But recently we rekindled a partnership with the Ojai Studio artists, and so they're going to help us now curate and rotate quarterly. So there's new art in that room every so often. Apparently someone recently sold a piece from that room, which is great. Good news. Yeah, Gail did actually. Yeah. So that we want to be able to really just expose people to what's going on there. The last one there is the mandala from this year, I think, the most recent one. And I bring that up because that's, some of our staff apparently were part of the part there that's being featured. A couple of our staff are, I guess, usually involved in that every year. They like it and they took a picture there, so. The last bit is, again, our involvement with the community. That's something else that's kind of new for us as a system and also as an individual library. Our director and our deputy director really have given us that mandate to go out in the community and meet people and make connections. And for us here in Ojai, that's translated into some collaborations with the museum, with the art center. We've been working with schools for a very long time, coming out to give presentations like this one to whomever will listen, basically. But for us also, we're very fortunate that our friends at the library, the Ojai Valley Library Friends and Foundation, they have the bookstore next to us, Twice Sold Tales, and they recently renovated it, tore it to the ground and rebuilt it to include this meeting room. And this is going to allow us to engage the community not only by going out, but by bringing them in. The community room, which we were just talking about, it fits about 40 folks, and we try to keep it, the price very accessible. And the idea is that people can come in and have organizational meetings. We have people who want to have their monthly organizational type stuff there. But then we also have folks who want to collaborate with the library and put on events. We have people who want to do film screenings, or they want to do poetry open mic nights, or Shakespeare readings, or anything like that. And we're open to it. We really are. We want people to use the space. We want people to use the library. We want the word to be out there that we are a resource for the community, because that's more than anything, that's our mission, is to be accessible to the people, be something that they can use. And this meeting room is just something really exciting for us in that regard. The last thing I'll say about the community is that we are, as a system, as a county system, we're in the process of redoing our strategic direction. We actually just finished a 5-year strategic plan that, by all accounts, went really well. I was only around for some of those years, but it was generally a success, and the end of a successful plan means it's time to make a new one. So as we're doing that, our big push is, again, getting out in the community and getting feedback. What we're going to be doing here in the Ojai Valley is starting at the very tail end of March and then throughout April, about once a week we're going to have community conversations. One of them is going to be in this meeting room. One is going to be at the Ojai Valley Museum, and then a couple are going to be at various schools, school locations. And the goal is to bring the community in and just talk about community aspirations for Ojai. That's kind of the starting point for us, is what do you think about, when you think of Ojai, what do you want Ojai to be? What do you aspire for your community? And the goal is to take the responses that we get from that and then figure out how it is the library fits into that. And again, that's it's a proactive thing that a lot of libraries throughout the state and even the country are starting to do. And it's very nice to kind of see that sort of shift, from a library being a place that's quiet, a library being a place that's very inward looking, waiting for people to come to them, into a place that's more engaging. And for me, that's very exciting because I like getting out and talking about what we do. I love what I do, and I just love sharing it. And that's pretty much what I've got here. Any questions, of course, I'd be happy to take. We've got one in the back already, so, yeah.
The first one is, in the community room, can you have coffee or food, or is it?
Yeah, the setup, the rules of, the rules of conduct, I think, specify light refreshments. What we tend to come across when we're looking to do food is that there are certain permitting issues that we come across as a library when we want to do that sort of thing. To give you kind of a quick thumbnail sketch of our restrictions, we've found that we are allowed to do pre-packaged stuff real easy. That's like not even a problem for us. But if we're looking to actually serve food, like doing anything like this, for instance, or even ordering pizza, if it's going to be open to the public, we are not to do that. So as far as outside groups using the room, what we say is that light refreshments are fine, and that any group using the room is responsible for any necessary permits, food or otherwise. And then you had another?
The other question is on the book club. Do you have book clubs going, and tell me about book clubs?
Yeah, there's one book club that meets on, it's an adult topic, so not a children's one, but I say that because some other branches have children's book clubs. But they meet every first Wednesday of the month. They do meet there in the library. They have a kind of a roster of books for the year. I think that list is up on our website, and as far as I know, it's drop-in. So there is a contact person who, again, I believe that their phone number is on that flyer. But that's the one that we host. Some of our branches have independent groups that form book groups and come in, so not necessarily library sponsored, but library supported. So up in Ojai, it's Wednesday evenings. I don't know what they're reading this month. I should check that website again. Yeah.
I'm interested in who's your boss, and what is your relationship to Ventura Libraries? Are you kind of over them, or are you just Ojai? And what is the general funding of all of the library experience in Ventura County?
Yeah, no, both good questions. So I am one of 3 regional librarians. There's a regional librarian for the Ojai Valley and El Rio, and that's me. So that means I have Ojai, Miners Oaks, and Oak View, and then also the El Rio Library, the Solis Library in El Rio. Right now, the other currently active regional librarian is Bernadette McDowell. She's down in Port Hueneme. She has the Port Hueneme branch, the Fillmore and Piru branches, and also the Oak Park branch. The 3rd regional librarian spot is currently vacant, and that's in Ventura. That person will oversee E.P. Foster, Avenue and Saticoy libraries, and the new library that's going to be coming up. So we each have about 4, and the 3 of us all report to the Deputy Director, Nancy Schramm. Nancy, relatively new to the system. She comes to us from the Thousand Oaks Library system, but she's been really phenomenal, and the Deputy Director more or less runs and coordinates the day-to-day operations of the library. We all report to Nancy, and Nancy reports to Jackie Griffin, who is the director for the entire county library. She handles more the the politics side of things, public relations. So less the nitty-gritty day-to-day and more the sort of philosophical, political angle. As far as funding, we get a lot of our funding centrally through the county, property taxes, that sort of thing. Although we're very lucky, actually. We have a very, very strong, very supportive Friends of the Library group. That's the Ojai Valley Library Friends and Foundation. Other regions have similar local friends groups that supplement their funding.
But there's no big endowments or anything like Carnegie was at one time.
Nothing like that, although we are moving towards a centralized Ventura County Library Foundation that is looking to do more large-scale fundraising with the current particular goal of funding a bookmobile. But no, nothing like that. We do apply for grants, but more on a piecemeal basis.
Well, thank you very much, Ron. Round of applause.